I am embarking on a journey of hats in 2026, and I've just completed my first hat of the year, and I'm ready to share my thoughts. Hi, my name is Taylor. Welcome. First of all, I want to mention that I do know that it kind of looks a little different. It is a very dark and stormy and cold day outside, so I have very little natural light. I'm relying on my lamps and whatnot in here and one, studio light. So yeah, it's gonna look a little different. The things I share with you today might not show up as nice as I would like them to show up if I had some natural light, but what can you do? It's a really cozy day, so I'm not complaining. I want to share with you guys my first completed project of 2026, which is the first hat for the Year of Hats Knit Along over on the Wool Needles Hands Patreon, where all the knit alongs live. And that is the Twisted Affair by Joji Locatelli. We chose the hats based on patron submissions, and then we put them on a big wheel and we chose all of them at random, one hat per month for the entire year of 2026. I am so happy to embark on this journey. I realize that I just need a year slated with finishers, right? Projects that you can finish in a reasonable amount of time, not these big undertakings. I have a few of those on the needles. I don't need more, like I said in my last video. And so I feel like I'm off to a great start, and I can't wait to share this with you today. The purpose of today's video is to give you my thoughts on this pattern after having completed it. I have cast on to a second as well because I loved it so much, but I do have some thoughts and some notes that I want to share with you just in case you decide you would like to knit one of these. These are some things that you might want to keep in mind. Okay, without further ado, here is my completed Twisted Affair by Joji Locatelli. You guys, how adorable is this? Now I'm knitting this, or I knit this for my niece who is 7. She lives up in Washington. I'm going to be sending this up to her because I know it is cold and rainy up in those parts. Ugh, you guys, I can't get enough. I put a little pink and purple pom-pom up there because she likes pink and purple. And there you have it. How lovely is this? I knit mine. Let's just go ahead and run down the stats for you here. I knit mine using Lion Brand Woolies, obviously not in this color, but I don't have the label left. This is the yarn I used to make it. It is an 80% acrylic, 20% wool yarn. If you want something easy care, maybe you're making gifts for children or for others or what have you, this is a really fantastic option. It's pretty affordable. You can get it at major craft stores, whatever. It's a great yarn for that purpose. So this is one I had in my stash, plus the gray that I'm using here. And this is what I have left. This is about 20 grams. I brought my scale just in case so that I could share with you how much I had left. These come in 85-gram balls. So you get 197 yards in 85 grams. This is 22 grams. I have 22 grams left. Now, continuing on with the stats of my hat and why I have this much left, I knit this on a size 7. I knit the smallest size that is listed in the pattern, and my gauge is much tighter than Joji's gauge, but that's because I also, I knit it on a smaller needle. So my gauge, I clocked it at 20 to 23 stitches per 4 inches, whereas Joji's design is 19 stitches to 4 inches on a size 8. So I went down a needle size. I got 20 to 23 stitches per 4 inches, something to keep in mind. So my hat's a little bit smaller, and that's okay. That's by design because I wanted it to fit a little one. I also kind of wanted nice crisp cables, so that when it stretched, it didn't completely open them up. You don't have any of those like kind of gaping sections of the cables. And I think it worked out really well. Another thing that I did here for size is I eliminated one of the cable repeats, so it wasn't going to be quite so tall. I didn't do the folded over cuff for the folded over band. What is it? Brim? I didn't do the doubled brim because my boys don't love beanies with doubled brims, and I just didn't want to add an extra layer if it wasn't necessary. This is easy throw on. You don't have to fold anything over. So I eliminated that as well, but then I took out one of the cable repeats so it wouldn't be quite so tall, and that seemed to work out really well. So there we have it. I really loved this pattern. It's fast. Once you get going, once you do your gauge and you check your, the size that you need and all of that, once you get going, it just flies. It's fast. The cable motif is super easy to memorize. Great for those of us that are just starting out doing cables. It's a good way to break into that technique because all the cables are the same and it's repetitive, obviously. And it's not super, not intricate. It's just a real classic cable. and it works up so fast. And I'm telling you, even the most beginner of beginner cable knitters can remember the cable, so you know what to do. You can kind of just repeat it in your head. You don't have to keep looking back to the pattern. Another bonus is that this is a free pattern. So if you are on a budget or you don't want to spend any money on knitting patterns right now, this is a great one, because not only is it a great pattern, and not only does it look great, it's by a designer we know and love and trust. And so we know that we're getting a good product for no money. And I think that that's great. So this is a free pattern for those of you on a pattern budget. Now, there is something that I will mention. I took note of it here, and it's something that we're talking about a little bit over on Patreon in the chat threads, is the yarn that is suggested in the pattern being Woolfolk Luft and being listed as a bulky weight yarn, both on Joji's pattern page plus also the yarn page as well. That can throw you off, because if you continue further down in the materials description below, in the actual description of the pattern, Joji mentions that you can use any Aran weight yarn, which is accurate because that's exactly what she's telling you here. But that's interesting because at the very top of the pattern, where you tend to look for the yarn weight initially, it says bulky. Now, if you were to knit this with a bulky weight yarn, considering that like the average gauge for a bulky weight yarn on a needle between like a 9 and 11 is about 12 to 15 stitches per inch, this yarn that is being used here, it must not, now I don't have this yarn, but based on its chainette construction, and it happens to be a blown yarn, it must not be that bulky of a yarn, which is why she's suggesting an Aran weight yarn. However, some folks started with a true bulky weight yarn and found that the texture was just too tight, the tension was too tight, their hands were becoming fatigued really quickly, considering you're using a size 8 needle. And so my suggestion would be here is, if you're going into this pattern, disregard what it says about bulky unless you're using that yarn that she used here. Then it doesn't matter, because you're just going to use the suggested yarn. But if you are going to sub out, don't go for a bulky weight yarn, go for an Aran weight yarn, which is like a heavy worsted weight yarn. So a step below bulky. Otherwise, you're going to be working with something that just feels too dense and too heavy and maybe even too cumbersome to work. So that was the only thing that we really kind of felt was off in terms of like getting started with this. But I think that's not a Joji issue, because she very clearly states in the materials Aran weight yarn. But I think that when she used the Woolfolk Luft as her suggested yarn, it automatically populates as a bulky weight yarn. So it's something that I think is really, it's nice that she mentioned it, because it could throw things off. I thought it was a great pattern. I really loved working it up, and I loved it so much that I cast it onto a second for myself, and I will show you here. How pretty is that? Let me show you the yarn. So this is Stash yarn, both fiber for the people. This is my Born, Shorn, and Dyed, which is 100% Merino Rambouillet Cross. It's a sport weight yarn. And then I also have fiber for the people. This is a, this is a sock yarn. It's 100% Polwarth in a colorway that I used to dye called Jasper. I love these two together. You marl them together, hold them together, and it gives me about an Aran weight, which is what I'm after. And you get this really gorgeous color kind of texture situation going on. How cool is that? So this is going to be mine. This is going to be a double brim version. I'm knitting the largest size from a big old head, and I am going to double up the brim. And I love this texture. I love the fabric. It's very soft, and it's very, I don't know, not rigid. There just feels like it's a good consistency. It's got a crispness to it that I love, and I think that's because of the Polwarth that's in there. So that is going to be mine. Again, double brim. It's going to be a classic kind of toque style hat. I haven't decided if I'm going to put a pom-pom on mine. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But I love it. And that is The Twisted Affair by Joji Locatelli. And I love it. If you need a great cabled hat pattern to knit and you want to be able to knit it quickly, mine knit up much quicker than maybe some others because I didn't do the folded over brim, but otherwise it is very quick, very satisfying. And a really great one if you're just getting into cable knitting. I have no notes. Well, I have the one note about the yarn weight, but that's more like a pattern, Ravelry page issue. I don't know. I just love it. It's great. So thumbs up for this one. Definitely will knit it again. And I am, and I love it. That's all for me today. I hope you found inspiration to knit a new hat. Please let me know if you've knit it before or if you plan to knit it. What are you knitting right now? I will catch you guys in the next one. Happy knitting, happy making, happy whatever it is that you're doing. Take care, be well, and I will see you soon. Bye.